Govinda Deshikam Upasya Siraya Bhaktyam Tasmin Side Nijamahim Nivideha Muktyam Advaitya Bhashyam Upakalpa Disho Vijityam Kanchi Pure Sitam Avapata Shankaraya Sriti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavadpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanatam Shantarupinam Sri Chandrasekhara Gurum Pranamami Mudamyaham Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmatacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara. With benediction to Adi Shankaracharya and to his lineage up to the 69th Guru, the venerated Kamakoti Peetam, Pujya Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal and Sri Keshwananda Bharati Swamigal of Ednirmat, I offer my prayers to them as I commence my address today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant and solemn function organized this evening to commemorate the inauguration of the Sri Kanchi Mahaswami Vidya Mandir at this holy presence in Rajakilpakam, Tambaram East. It is indeed a red letter day in the history of this institution. Sri Kanchi Mahaswami Peetharona Shadapti Mahotsav Trust was formed in the year 2005 with the blessings and the support of the sages of Kanchi and registered in Mumbai with the sole mandate to celebrate the centenary of the ascension to the pontificate of the venerated Kamakoti Peetam by Pujya Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal, the 68th Acharya of the Peetam. In the year 1907, at the tender age of 13, the Swamiji was given the sannyasa svikara and he became the 68th Acharya of the Kamakoti Peetam. For 87 long years he held on to the reins of the Peetam and brought glory and lustre to the Peetam. And once this mandate to celebrate both nationally and internationally the centenary of the ascension to the pontificate was done, the Trust continued to espouse the causes that were dear to the sage of Kanchi. The Trust rechristened itself by a shorter name of Sri Kanchi Mahaswami Trust with the avowed objective of spreading happiness and peace that the sage had conveyed all through his century-long sojourn in this universe, and more importantly, his Upadeshas on the messages of Vedas, the Itihasas, the Puranas and the Shastras that all through his lifetime he had given to humanity. The Sri Kanchi Mahaswami Trust has done substantial work during the last 5 years. After the centenary celebrations was done, it took unto itself the task of translating into all other languages of the country that voice of God, Devatin Kural, which was a legendary work which was done in Tamil based on the discourses of the Mahaswami during his lifetime. This Bhagirath Prayatnam, this monumental work, was first started in English and the 7 volumes were completed as Voice of God. From Voice of God we travelled to Marathi. Sadguru Vachanamrit, 7 volumes were completed in Marathi. Then we came to Kannada and Devavani, 7 volumes were completed. Paramavani, 6 volumes were completed, the 7th is in process, that's practically completed. The work in relation to the translation in Bengali and Assamese are in different stages of completion. To make it easier for the common reader, all that the sage said in brief were brought out as gems from the Brahmacharya in all the languages of this country. Several institutions were supported by the Sri Kanchi Mahaswami Trust during these years. These trusts now carry with them the name of the sage of Kanchi and therefore have the additional responsibility of espousing the causes that they are today doing with a greater degree of sincerity and devotion, be it the Sri Chandrasekhara Netra Nilayam of Shankar Netralaya or the Kanchi Mahaswami Auditorium at Vani Mahal or the Kanchi Mahaswami Hall in the Ananta Padmanabha Temple at Adayar or the ones that is taking shape, the Rachikaranjani Sabha at Mambalam. These are shining examples of the contribution of this trust to further the cause of the sage and the life and times of the sage, repeated for us who never had the fortune of seeing him during his lifetime. In addition to this, the Trust through its Veda Shastra Pandita Rakshita Sabha gives a lifelong pension 1,000 to 250 Vedic scholars from all over the country. In addition to this, several Veda Pathshalas all over the country are provided generous monthly grants to serve the cause of Vedic education. All these over a period of 5 years would not have been possible but for the grace of the Mahaswami and the grace and the support of the sages of Kanchi. the institution that has sprung up today and has been consecrated to the holy hands of the Jagadguru Shankaracharya, Pujya Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamigal, is in a sense a fulfillment of the desire of the Mahaswami of Kanchi. During his days, the Swamiji used to lament on the state of education. He always used to wonder whether the state of education that is being imparted would ever be able to imbibe the religious and the traditional aspects of our religion onto the young minds. And he therefore had the conviction to believe and tell people that at an young age, transfer to the children the glory of this land, so that this may germinate and sprout at some point of time in their lifetime. The Swamiji used to compare this with a simple analogy. In fact, his Upadeshas are the most simplest anyone could have ever thought of. And he used to compare this to medicine. And he said, when a medicine is being administered, and when you try to administer the medicine is the same. When you try to administer it without following the contraindications or the BID dosages or the strength itself, that very same medicine becomes poison. And that exactly is the state of education. The content of education has remained the same right from the Vedic times to the medieval times to the current times. What is being taught is same observed in the stage of Kanchi. But the delivery, the manner in which it is being imparted has undergone such a change that this system of education has today become a poison, he said. And the sage used to recount a story that happened in this same town. In those days it was called as Chennai. Those were one of the early visits of the sage to this city, the later half of 1950. In fact, he had his Padayatra to a hilly region, and from that region he had descended onto the plains and had come on to Chennai. As soon as he came to the borders of Chennai, he was surrounded on either side by policemen who were supposed to guard him. As he walked through the streets of Chennai, he was able to see that there are houses on either side of the road. He was able to see that the houses had doors. Some of the houses had locks. And even in those days, there were some houses which had double doors and therefore double locks. The sage wondered when he was walking along that I have now come from an area which was an hilly area. The general assessment of people is those tribals are primitive, they are not learned, they are illiterate or uneducated. But I have come down to this city. There were houses there. They were natural mud houses. There were no doors to those houses. There were no policemen in that area. There were no magisterial courts in that area. There were no schools and colleges in that area. I have come down to a place where all these things are existing. What is the difference between the people I have seen there and the people I have seen here? As he came to the Sanskrit college and began his inaugural Upadesha of that Vidya, he put the searching question to the audience and then answered it himself. And he said, I was thinking about it when I was walking, then I realized that you all are educated and they are not educated. So this is what education has brought about, a sense of insecurity and a complete absence of vinayam or the modesty that was seen in those people who had naturally absorbed what came from nature as it is, and therefore there was a sense of happiness, a sense of well-being in them. This was the state of education, the Swamiji said. The true purpose of education, according to the sage of Kanchi, was to realize the existence of God, that there is a force which is beyond us. Call him by any name, but the moment we arrogate to ourselves that we are everything, that education has no value, said the sage. And the sage continued by saying that by education we mean truth. And truth can be of several forms. History is one truth. Mathematics is one truth. Geography is one truth, he said. The content of truth in mathematics is far more than in history or physics or any other field, because this is built on logic and the science of logic itself. And then the sage went on to add that we have places in geography called as Africa, Australia, Asia, America. We have by imagination also given names like plateaus, valleys, islands, etc. And then came the serious component of his Upadesha when he said, by a gradual process of elimination of all that is imaginary, we will ultimately come to that shunyam which is called as truth. And to think of him with devotion is the true fruit of education. And again, he compared this thought by taking the story of an onion. He said, start peeling the onion one by one by one by one, and ultimately you will see nothing. The moment you realize that shunyam over there, then the purpose of education has been realized, Because from that infinity, you will know that a person who is educated has finite advantages over people who are not educated. This, the sage said, is the glory of education that can come on to people.